When the doorbell rings and the Domino's delivery person hands you a box of steaming hot, delicious pizza, your first thought probably isn't about what secret history is hidden in the logo printed on the box. But after you've finished off the last cheesy slice, hey, no judgment, I've been there, you might be interested in the little-known intentions behind the iconic logo. Obviously, the logo is based on a playing piece for the game Domino's. You think? It's right there in the brand name after all. But why did the designers want the domino to have 3 dots? You might think that dots are random, but just like the many logos you see every day, there's a lot more thought behind every detail than you might notice at first glance. Each of the 3 dots represents one of the original Domino's pizza stores. The plan was to keep adding dots for every new franchise branch they opened. A cool idea, but considering that there are over 10,000 Domino's restaurants now, yeah, that's a lot of dots. It's probably a smart move that they stuck to the original 3 dots. Can you imagine what the logo would look like if they hadn't? Your pizza box would have to be massive to fit the entire logo printed on it. Okay, if you have an iPhone, Mac, or an iPad Nano for your favorite 12 tunes, like me, you probably see this logo every day. Even if you don't, we're all super familiar with the Apple logo. It's iconic. Literally, that's what designers call symbolic logos like this, rather than typographical, also known as written logos like Coca-Cola. The current Apple logo that we're familiar with isn't the first design the brand had. You've probably never seen the original Apple logo, which is an illustration of Sir Isaac Newton sitting in the shade of an apple tree. This is a reference to the famous story about how he supposedly discovered gravity. It's a far stretch from their ultra-modern current logo. The first unveiling of the apple shape we're familiar with came in 1977, although at that time it was filled with bright, vibrant colored stripes, representing Newton's work with prisms. A few people believe that the byte in the logo could refer to the computing term bytes. But the logo's designer, Rob Janoff, once said that hadn't been the intention. In truth, the byte was added so that the shape would still be recognized as an apple from a distance, instead of looking like a cherry. Now, the Amazon logo is pretty self-explanatory, since it was designed to focus on clear typography so that the brand's name can be recognized instantly. Most people know that the yellow swoop is modeled after a smile, making you associate the brand with a cheery feeling. But the swoop also starts at the letter A and points to the Z, which is Amazon's way of claiming that they sell everything from A to Z. Although, how many items could they really sell that start with X? Xylophones? Just mostly xylophones. Now, the Tour de France logo clearly disguises a cyclist within the letters of his name. The O is the back wheel, and the U and R make up their body, pedaling speedily. Did you spot the biker or read the words first? Here's another beautifully concealed silhouette. In the London Orchestra logo, the letters form the head and arms of a conductor. The L and O create the conductor's waving arms, and the line linking them bumps up to outline the conductor's head. Can you see it? On the surface, the logo of the network company Cisco seems pretty simple. The company's name appears plain as day beneath several vertical lines. However, there's more to it than meets the eye. The blue stripes at the top signify both an electromagnetic wave and the Golden Gate Bridge. That's a nod to Cisco's San Francisco roots, which is also where they got their name, San Francisco. Interestingly, using lines in logos can have a significant impact on how an audience perceives a brand's identity. Vertical lines subconsciously evoke feelings of strength and sophistication. They seem enticing and powerful, and they draw the viewer's attention downward, often directing it to the brand's name, like in the Cisco logo. The Unilever logo appears on so many of the company's products that we use every day. But most of us have never noticed that on closer inspection, the Unilever U logo contains symbols that correspond to the company's diverse product range. Quick, count how many symbols you can spot. Bonus points if you can figure out what Unilever products they represent. Did you catch any of these? A tea leaf, an ice cream cone, a cosmetics jar, a lock of hair symbolizing shampoo? Beats by Dre's clean and simple logo is just a lowercase b followed by the brand's name, right? Well, actually, the circle that surrounds the B represents a human head, and the B is meant to represent someone wearing the headphones. Do you see it? Here, this might help. How about now? You'll never unsee this little guy jamming to his tunes in his beats. By the way, circles are a really common feature in logo design. They're used in 20% of the world's most well-known brands. We emotionally recognize them as softer and more welcoming than angular shapes, like triangles and squares. Plus, they're universal and sturdy since they don't have any corners, breaks, or turns. Businesses use them to subconsciously tell you that you can rely on them. Every detail is sending you a message. Even if you don't spend your free time analyzing famous logos, we all make quick associations with shapes and colors without even thinking about it. A common experiment has been repeated by multiple psychologists on a phenomenon called the Baoba-Kiki effect. Researchers show participants these two shapes and ask which of these shapes is Baoba and which is Kiki. Go ahead and try for yourself. Did your brain assign the names easily? You're not alone. Between 95 and 98% of people select the curvy shape as Baoba and the jagged one as Kiki. This tells us that the human brain attaches abstract meanings to the shapes, sounds, and other parts of design. Some people suggest that the IBM logo is supposed to look like it has been printed by one of the world's earliest computer printers. Those weren't great at laying down a smooth coat of ink. Now, that might be true, but IBM's official story is that the horizontal lines are intended to symbolize the speed and dynamics of their services. Also, one study in 2011 found that when a company's logo looks incomplete like this, people consider the business to be more outside the box and inventive. Read between the lines, right? Well, it's either innovation or your printer's out of ink. Now, if I told you to picture the work of surrealist artist Salvador Dali, you might think of this, or this. But were you also picturing Chupa Chups, the lollipop brand? Very few people know that Dali wasn't the kind of guy to turn down a paid gig. And one example of this is the logo for Chupa Chups, which he worked on developing. He was the one who added the whimsical flower pattern, while the text had already been established by the time he got his hands on the logo. He also had the idea to shift the logo from the side to the top of the candy wrapper. This way, the emblem is always intact and visible to the customer. Chupa Chups is also a great example of another design secret that you'll notice everywhere after you learn it. When food companies are picking out their brand colors, they're overwhelmingly likely to reach for a specific power duo, red and yellow. I bet you could think of 3 brands that pair rich cherry red and sunshiny bright yellow right away. But why? Thanks to its long wavelength, red is one of the most visible colors in the spectrum and the first one you'll notice. It's second only to one other color. Yeah, you guessed it, yellow. Both instantly grab people's attention, which is why we use them for important warnings, like stop signs, traffic lights, and drive-through signs. But still, why is it specifically food brands that latch onto these hues? Well, because of how visually stimulating red and yellow are, they're also associated with excitement. They're warm colors, which are known to draw people in and give them energy and excitement. Seeing the color red could affect people's behavior, including making you think that people who are wearing red are more attractive. All of these physiological effects spike your energy levels, which could explain the pang of hunger you get when you see some restaurant logos. That and the good old craving for salty French fries. Hey, where's that drive-thru?
The Mozilla Firefox logo is a fox embracing the planet. The original browser's logo was a phoenix bird reborn from its flames, designed in 2002. Back then, the browser was named Mozilla Firebird. 2 years later, they changed the name to Firefox. It's the English nickname for the red panda. It's a rare and protected animal from Asia. There's a bear standing on its hind legs hidden within the famous Toblerone logo. The mountain-shaped chocolate bar was created in Bern, the Swiss capital, by Emil Baumann and Theodor Tobler. It's nicknamed the City of Bears and has a bear featured on its coat of arms. That's why this animal is featured in the image of the Matterhorn mountain that inspired the logo. The image of a happy girl in Wendy's logo was inspired by the daughter of the fast food chain's creator, Dave Thomas. Wendy is her nickname. If you look closer, you'll notice her collar spells out the word Mom. Whether intentional or not, it became something to mean a homely feel the restaurant gives its guests. 9:41, set as the time in iPhone's ads, isn't a random choice of numbers. In 2007, Steve Jobs first introduced the iPhone to the public after a 41-minute presentation at exactly 9:41 a.m. The first Apple logo was designed in 1976 and featured Sir Isaac Newton sitting under a tree, with an apple about to fall on his head. It seemed too complex and unclear to many, so Steve Jobs wanted it replaced. The designer of the new logo, Rob Yanoff, made it an apple we all know today. He was most likely inspired by the original logo, but wanted to make it more simple. He added the bite so that no one would confuse it with a cherry, a peach, or any other round fruit with a stem. Without realizing it, he added a fun pun to the logo. Bite seems very much like the computer term. Toyota's logo symbolizes the merge of the hearts of customers and the company. Two overlapping ovals stand for T for Toyota and the steering wheel. The outer oval is for the world-embracing Toyota. The background space represents the infinite values of the company. Great quality, value beyond expectation, the joy of driving, innovation and integrity and safety, the environment and social responsibility. Life insurance for Apollo 11 astronauts cost a fortune, since the mission was so risky and unpredictable. The astronauts couldn't afford it, so they signed hundreds of covers that their families could sell to fund some big expenses in case anything went wrong. Snickers candy bar was created by Frank Mars, founder of Mars Inc. It was inspired by an already existing snack made of nougat, peanut, and caramel, and named after Mars's family horse. Until 1990, they called it a marathon candy bar in the UK. As soon as they switched the name to Snickers there, it went from the #1 selling candy bar in Britain to the #3. When NBC's logo was developed, color televisions were revolutionary gadgets. The logo with a rainbow of colors points it out. The peacock illustrates the phrase, "as proud as a peacock." It was meant to show they were proud of their new color system. The 6 different colors of the feathers represent the 6 different divisions of NBC. The yellow arrow in the Amazon logo that starts at A and ends at Z shows you can buy anything from them, from A to Z. It also looks like a smile, symbolizing the happiness of their customers. The original name of the business was not Amazon, but Cadabra Inc. Jeff Bezos experimented with different names for his website as well, and one of them, Relentless.com, still redirects to Amazon. Papa John's Pizza CEO, John Schnatter, started his business in a broom closet in a bar he co-owned with his dad in Indiana in 1984. Over the years, it has grown to the 3rd largest pizza chain in the world, with 5,500 restaurants in 49 countries. Baskin-Robbins has 31 different flavors, and the letters B and R in the logo hide this number. The B curve stands for 3, and the stem of the R stands for 1. You can visit the first website ever created, called the World Wide Web Project, even today. It went live in 1991 and now serves as a historical archive about the World Wide Web. It doesn't have a single picture, just text. The web itself was invented by Tim Berners-Lee, a British scientist working at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, in 1989. The first product ever scanned at a supermarket was a 10-pack of Wrigley Juicy Fruit Gum in 1974 in Troy, Ohio. The barcode was invented and patented back in 1952, but the idea only took off when its inventor started working for IBM. Until then, grocery clerks had to put a price sticker on every item, and cashiers had to read those tags and type the price by hand. The Quicksilver logo is a customized version of the Great Wave off Kanagawa, a famous wood print by Japanese artist Hokusai. When Quicksilver expanded their business and started a woman's brand Roxy, they mirrored their logo so that one looks like a heart. Until 2010, rural broadband internet was slower than carrier pigeons. In a speed test, they let pigeons with USB sticks fly from a Yorkshire farm to cover the distance of 50 miles. They finished the race an hour and a quarter later. By this time, only 24% of a 300 megabyte file had been uploaded. Picasa lets you organize and view your images online, and its logo is more than a simple colorful camera shutter. The white space in the middle forms a house, meaning it will be a safe home for your photos. It also has a house or casa in its name, and P stands for pixels. Letters L and G in the LG logo form a human face. L is the nose, and G represents the rest of it. They call it the face of the future. And the idea was to give the brand some human elements and make it friendlier. Many tech companies test their new products in New Zealand. It's an ethnically diverse country with English-speaking people, and most importantly, it's so isolated, news about product failure won't spread quickly. FedEx logo might seem basic when it comes to its colors and font, but it's hiding an arrow between the letters E and X. It stands for speed, accuracy, striving for perfection, and perseverance in achieving goals. The 4 rings in the Audi logo represent the 4 companies that blended together to form it: Audi, DKW, Porsche, and Wanderer. The latter started as a bicycle repair shop. Gillette Company, famous for its razors, wanted their logo to be as sharp and precise as possible. This is how they ended up with a cut between G and I that forms blade-like shapes on top of each other. Black and white colors in the logo symbolize the elegance, purity, prestige, and excellence of the products. Some people have a fear of technology, aka technophobia. Now, it mostly has to do with complex new devices like computers, but it has its roots back in the time of the Industrial Revolution. It began in the 18th century when workers were afraid new machines would take their jobs. Google rents goats from a special company in California to mow their lawns. They bring about 200 goats to Google headquarters at Mountain View. It takes them around 1 week to eat all the unnecessary grass and fertilize the land. The founders of Domino's were originally planning to add a dot to the Domino's in the logo for every new place they opened. But it was growing way too fast and too big for that, so they decided to keep just 3 dots for the 3 original locations. In 2004, @ became the first new character to be added to Morse code for the first time in at least 60 years. It consists of the signals for A and C with no break in between, so you can spell your email in Morse code now if you ever have to. In its 150-year history, Levi's had 8 logo redesigns. The first one was called the 2-Horse brand. It had a lot of detail in it. The current logo, known as Batwing, is over 50 years old and represents the shape of a pocket you can find on every pair of Levi's jeans. It's supposed to give a youthful yet timeless feel. Evernote app stores your notes and has an elephant for its logo because the saying goes, an elephant never forgets. And these animals do have an impressive memory. The ear on the elephant is curled over, like a post-it note. The H in the Hyundai logo isn't just for the company's name. It's the outlines of 2 people firmly shaking hands. It's an exchange of trust between the company and its customers. The oval around the figures is a symbol of Hyundai's global expansion. The silver color symbolizes sophistication and perfection. The digital blue version reflects reliability and excellence. Lacoste got its iconic logo thanks to a bet René Lacoste, co-founder of the company and tennis player, made with the captain of the French Davis Cup team. The captain promised to give Lacoste a crocodile skin suitcase if he won the match. Lacoste didn't win, but got his nickname Crocodile out of it. He had a crocodile embroidered on his tennis court blazer. When it was time to launch his apparel brand, the crocodile came in handy. Oreos are the world's most popular manufactured cookie, with over 40 billion pieces produced every year. Originally, they were sold by weight at the price of $2.35 for 9¼ pounds. A circle topped with a 2-bar cross stamped on each cookie is a Nabisco logo that is a European symbol of quality. When Michael Dell started his company in 1984, he planned to turn the world on its ear with his business. That's why the E in Dell's logo is slanted. The blue color stands for loyalty, trustworthiness, confidence, and intelligence. The first mechanical alarm clock could only ring at one time, at 4 a.m. It was invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787 in Concord, New Hampshire. Hutchins designed the device to wake him up for work. The early prototype of alarm clocks was invented by the Greeks in 250 BCE. They used rising water to bring a whistle into action. Airbnb's logo isn't a bent paperclip. It's called a bellow for belonging. It's a person's head, the location symbol, a pin, and a heart for love. Together, these symbols make Airbnb's famous A. In 2006, Qatar Telecom organized a charity auction where they sold the phone number 666-6666 to an anonymous bidder for $2.75 million. It became the most expensive phone number in the world. Segway Polo is a legit sport with functional teams from all corners of the globe. It doesn't require a particular fitness level, has no age restrictions, and is gaining popularity. There are 4 8-minute sections of the game, and the goal is to knock the ball into the goal using a special hammer. If you take a closer look at the Tour de France logo, you'll notice a cyclist hiding in the O, U, and R. The second hidden message here is the yellow circle, representing the stages of the race that only occur during the daytime. Phantom vibration syndrome is how you call that feeling when you think your phone is vibrating, but it isn't. If you often experience that, it might be a sign you're over-involved with your phone. Sony Vaio logo symbolizes the integration of analog and digital technologies in its products. The letters V and A look like an analog wave. The letters I and O are there to resemble the numbers 1 and 0 for a digital signal or binary code. The original Xbox had edited sound bites from actual transmissions from the Apollo space missions. If you left it on the home screen, you'd eventually hear fragments of real chatter from the mission. Pinterest lets you pin stuff you find interesting to your online boards. Its logo shows exactly that. It's a pin design hidden in the letter P. Pin-shaped Ps are an important part of Pinterest branding, to get people to pin more things by mimicking the action of pushing a pin into a board. Pepsi spent around $1 million to design its logo with many secret meanings. It hints at Feng Shui, the Renaissance, the Earth's magnetic field, the theory of relativity, Mona Lisa, and the Parthenon, among other things, and is supposed to serve as the key to the universe. Nintendo was founded back in 1889, long before computers, as a playing card company. They still produce those in Japan and even organize a bridge tournament called the Nintendo Cup. In 1973, a Motorola engineer made the first cell phone call in history from 6th Avenue in New York City. He was using a 2.5-pound prototype to call a rival from Bell Laboratories. There was silence at the other end of the line. The phone was almost the size of a shoebox, allowed its owner to talk for 35 hours, and needed 10 hours to recharge. The first commercial text message in history was sent on December 3, 1992, and was wishing happy holidays to the recipient, who was a Vodafone employee. Now the average number of texts sent is 6 billion per day. Apple used to have its clothing line in 1986, called the Apple Collection. They did it 1 year after Steve Jobs' temporary resignation. The idea was to see how far their fans would go in buying branded clothing, accessories, and lifestyle items. The horizontal lines in the IBM logo remind those times when photocopies had difficulties reproducing large blocks of solid ink. Originally, there were 13 lines in the logo, but then they reduced the number to 8 as they had ink bleeding problems with the 13 lines in their print media. The serif on the bottom of the M has an equal sign to show they value equality. 5 megabytes of data used to weigh 1 ton. In 1953, engineers in IBM's laboratory invented the first hard drive. The cabinet containing it weighed over 2,200 pounds and could hold just 5 megabytes of data. McDonald's logo isn't just a letter M, but also the symbol of the original golden arches of the restaurant chain. They realized prospective customers could see them well from the highway and would stop by. The world's first computer mouse was invented in 1964 and called XY position indicator for display systems. It was rectangular and made from wood with a little button on the top right. The inventor, Doug Engelbart, called it a mouse because of the cord coming from it that looked like that of a mouse. The name Mitsubishi is a combination of Mitsu, which means 3, and Hishi, which means water chestnut. The Japanese use this word to denote a diamond shape, so, put together, the brand name translates as 3 diamonds. The shield shape of the NFL logo symbolizes the league's commitment to the highest standard of sporting entertainment. The 8 stars stand for the 8 divisions currently used in the NFL. The first word that has ever been auto-corrected was te. To do it, you had to press the left arrow and F3. Northwest Airlines logo has an N and a W in negative spaces. The triangle in the circle is a compass that points northwest. The airlines were flying up high from 1926 until 2010 when they merged with Delta. A study from Beth Israel Medical Center in New York showed that surgeons who grew up playing video games more than 3 hours per week make 37% fewer errors, perform 27% faster, and scored 42% better at the test of surgical skills. The Mercedes-Benz brand is a product of merging the companies of Gottlieb Daimler and Carl Benz. Benz company's logo that was Benz lettering, surrounded by a laurel wreath, was registered as a trademark in 1909. Daimler had a Mercedes star for a logo. When the companies merged in 1925, they got a new shared logo of Daimler's Mercedes star in Benz's laurel wreath. The star has 3 points that represent land, sea, and air. These are the 3 environments the company originally planned to dominate. Carrefour translates into English as crossroads and has a logical logo of 2 stylized arrows, symbolizing the different directions you can take. The logo is in the French national colors of red, blue, and white. In the white space between the arrows forms the letter C. Salvador Dali designed the Chupa Chups Lollipops logo. The artist put the existing text on a colored daisy-shaped background. He also wanted to move the logo to the top of the lollipop wrapper from the side, so that it would always be intact and visible to buyers. The first ever computer virus was developed in 1971. It was named the Creeper Program and designed as a security test to see how it would spread between computers. Samsung was founded as a grocery store on March 1, 1938, which makes it 38 years and 1 month older than Apple, founded on April 1, 1976. The first phone was released to the public back in 1874. It took 3 years for it to be in the homes of around 50,000 people, and another 75 years to get to the 50 million people point. It only took the radio 38 years to get to the same number, and television made it in just 13 years. The Google logo seems pretty basic when it comes to colors. There's primary red, yellow, and blue. But they also added green that interrupts the primary color scheme. It's supposed to show that Google is an innovator that doesn't do what's expected of it and is unique from other companies. Shell Oil Giant has been around since 1904, and its yellow-red logo has changed a lot over the years. The original one was a more realistic picture of a pecten shell. The current logo is more stylized.